There were solar panels designed to last 50 years. Some of the earliest panels installed in the 1970s still produce power today. Space-grade solar panels built for satellites were engineered for extreme longevity. So why do most modern panels come with 20 to 25-year warranties instead of 50 years? Long before silicon and satellites, the instinct to build for the sun shaped entire civilizations. In ancient Greece, the city of Olympus was laid out so every house faced south, capturing winter sunlight through broad windows, while thick stone walls held the warmth deep into the night. Roman architects took this further, designing bathhouses with massive south-facing glass walls and arranging villas so even the poorest rooms basked in midday light. Vitruvius, the Roman engineer, wrote that a house must be oriented to the path of the sun, not just for comfort but for frugality, saving wood, labor, and money by letting sunlight do the work. These structures weren't disposable. They were meant to last generations, their sunlit rooms as permanent as the stones beneath them. The idea was simple: the sun is constant, but how we capture its energy is a matter of design. For centuries, durability and longevity were not afterthoughts, they were the foundation. This mindset, rooted in ancient walls and glass, would echo forward into the first experiments with solar electricity long before modern warranties and cost per watt calculations entered the scene. In 1954, at Bell Labs in New Jersey, a team of engineers, Darrell Chapin, Calvin Fuller, and Gerald Pearson, assembled the first practical silicon solar cell. This was no laboratory curiosity. Their cell ran a radio transmitter for days on end, proving that sunlight could be harnessed with solid-state reliability. From the beginning, their goal was not just efficiency, but endurance. Early patents described thick, single-crystal silicon wafers, protected under glass and sealed against moisture with silicone compounds, a direct response to the failures of earlier fragile designs. The engineers built for the long haul, knowing these modules would power remote telephone repeaters and, soon after, satellites where repairs were impossible. The same philosophy guided the solar panels that left Earth. Spacecraft like Vanguard 1, launched in 1958, relied on Bell's silicon cells to deliver power through radiation, vacuum, and temperature swings of hundreds of degrees. By the 1970s, engineers designing arrays for missions like Voyager and later the Hubble Space Telescope set out to achieve lifespans of 30 years or more. Their approach rested on three pillars: robust encapsulation to block out moisture and dust, strong mechanical frames to resist vibration and wind, and conservative electrical margins to keep the cells running cool and stable. Decades later, the evidence is clear. Voyager's solar arrays still deliver over 85% of their original power after more than 45 years in space. The International Space Station's panels, built with triple junction cells and carbon fiber frames, retain over 90% of their output after 2 decades of orbital service. These were not disposable products. They were engineered as infrastructure, built to last, because failure simply was not an option. Decades of field data reveal a consistent truth about these early solar panels. They do not suddenly fail or drop off a cliff. Instead, their output declines at a slow, steady pace, about 0.45% per year, according to long-term surveys at sites like the University of Arizona Solar Village and the Solar One field in California. After 50 years, a well-built module from the 1970s still delivers roughly 78 to 81% of its original power. That's not a guess. It's measured, logged, and confirmed by maintenance records and independent field tests. Compare that to the typical 25-year warranty on today's panels, which often guarantees around 80% output at the end of the term. The math is simple. A panel engineered for 50 years produces nearly double the total energy over its lifetime, even accounting for gradual decline. The difference is not just theoretical, it is visible on the utility meter year after year. These numbers set the benchmark for what is possible, and they raise a pointed question. If the technology can last this long, why did the industry move away from building for permanence? A different logic now drives the design of solar panels. Where early modules relied on thick glass and sturdy silicon, today's manufacturing lines are tuned for speed and savings. The silicon wafer, the heart of the cell, has been shaved down from around 200 microns to as thin as 130 microns in most mass-market panels. The glass, once 3 or 4 millimeters thick, now often measures just 1.6 to 2 millimeters. These changes slash the amount of raw material needed for each panel and cut weight, making shipping and installation cheaper. The payoff is visible in price. The cost of a solar module has plummeted to less than 30 cents per watt, a drop of more than 99% since the 1970s. But every micron trimmed from the wafer and every millimeter lost from the glass comes with a trade-off. Thinner materials are more vulnerable to microcracks, hail, and thermal stress. Edge seals, once mechanical and overbuilt, are now mostly polymer adhesives that can peel or allow moisture in over time. The push to minimize upfront cost has produced panels that are lighter, cheaper, and easier to handle, but also less robust and more likely to fail if pushed beyond their design horizon. These are not the infrastructure-grade modules of the past. They are products optimized for a 20 to 25-year financial window, built to meet the minimum required by modern standards and little more. Every decision about how long a solar panel should last is shaped long before a single cell is made. In the boardrooms and legal offices where projects are financed, the rulebook favors speed and savings over longevity. Power purchase agreements, PPAS, lock in electricity prices for 15 to 25 years, matching the standard finance window for utility-scale solar deals. The contract language is precise. Output guarantees, performance escrows, and insurance clauses are all calibrated to this horizon. If a panel keeps working beyond the contract, the extra power is often worthless to the owner because the revenue stream has already ended. A procurement officer flips through a stack of RFPS, request for proposal documents, from the past decade. The pattern is unmistakable. The lowest upfront bid wins. Durability beyond 25 years rarely earns extra points, and in some cases it is penalized for raising initial costs. Lenders and insurers follow suit, offering favorable terms only for modules that match the contract period. A finance specialist points out that a longer warranty increases module prices by 10 to 15%, making bids less competitive in the eyes of utilities and investors. The system itself nudges manufacturers to design for the minimum required, not for what is possible. The incentives are clear: build to the contract, not to the limits of engineering. In this framework, the idea of a 50-year panel becomes an outlier, technically feasible but financially orphaned. A solar installer reviews the contract terms for a new commercial project. On paper, the panel warranty stops at 25 years, but the real service schedule is even shorter. Inverters, the electronic brains that convert solar power to usable electricity, typically need replacement every 10 to 15 years. Each swap is a billable event, generating steady income for the installer or service firm. The business model rewards turnover. Every panel, inverter, or mounting part replaced feeds a loop of recurring revenue, not just for manufacturers, but for the entire service chain. For some companies, offering a so-called life extension package can add 4 cents per watt in extra fees, covering periodic cleaning, inspections, and re-encapsulation to stretch the system's life a few years beyond the warranty. The numbers add up. A service provider managing a 1 megawatt site can earn $15,000 a year just from maintenance contracts and scheduled replacements. The logic is clear. A product designed to last 50 years closes the door on this cycle. The longer a panel survives, the less profit there is to be made in keeping it running. The system isn't broken, it's working exactly as designed. There is no law or regulation that forbids a solar panel from lasting 50 years. No government agency has banned thick glass, heavy frames, or conservative engineering. The language of utility contracts and procurement documents makes this clear. Terms like minimum 25-year warranty or guaranteed annual degradation set a floor, not a ceiling. The Energy Policy Act of 2005 and the investment tax credit focus on installed capacity and upfront cost, not on how long a module should endure. Even the latest federal incentives, like the Durability Bonus and the Inflation Reduction Act, simply offer a small premium for panels with longer warranties. They do not exclude ultra-long life designs. The real barrier is not a secret ban or a hidden restriction. It is the economic logic baked into every bid sheet, loan agreement, and insurance policy. The system rewards what is cheapest and fastest to deploy, not what is built to last. Two futures now stand in sharp relief. In one, solar panels are treated as disposable hardware, manufactured for the lowest possible upfront cost, replaced every couple of decades, and stacked in landfills or recycling yards when their warranties expire. This model dominates today's market, and it is easy to see why. The levelized cost of electricity has dropped by over 99% since the 1970s. Shaving just a few years off, a panel's expected life cuts only 2 to 3% from the levelized cost of electricity, making short-lived modules the default choice for most buyers. But that is not the only path. Across university labs and research centers, engineers are proving that 50-year panels remain entirely feasible. Projects like the SDLE Center's Lifetime Photovoltaic Initiative confirm that with robust encapsulation and conservative electrical design, today's modules could match or exceed the durability of their 1970s ancestors without a massive jump in cost. The choice is not about physics, it is about priorities. Do we build solar as a permanent part of our infrastructure, or as a product meant to be replaced again and again? The answer will define not only the future of solar, but the kind of energy system we leave behind. Panels can last 50 years, yet today incentives value replacement over resilience. The limit isn't physics, it's the system we built around short-term returns. As energy demand climbs, the real question is simple. Will we keep designing for disposability or finally reward infrastructure built to endure? Let me know what you think below.